Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're swapping the city streets for wide open spaces. We're diving into everything you need to plan a great visit to the San Diego Zoo Safari Park. We've gathered quite a stack of sources here.
We sure have. For this deep dive, we looked at, well, a mix of things. There's a useful YouTube video with tips from people who've been official info from the park's website on activities, foods, safaris, all that.
Okay.
Plus a really detailed blog post guide and even a Reddit thread, where people were asking questions and getting real answers from other visitors.
Right, that's always useful stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So the mission today, basically pull out all the key tips, the unique bits, the practical advice you really need from all this material.
Mm-hmm.
We want to give you a shortcut, really, so you feel informed and can just, make the most of a day there, get the best experience. Okay, let's get into it.
Let's do it.
So first up, what is the safari park? Because it's definitely not just the San Diego Zoo moved somewhere else, is it?
No, that's a really crucial point right at the start. The safari park is it's on a completely different scale. We're talking over 1,800 acres.
Wow.
Yeah, and just for comparison, the main San Diego Zoo in Balboa Park, that's about 100 acres. So, yeah, expect a lot of ground to cover.
Okay, 1,800 acres versus 100.
Yeah.
That really puts the safari part in perspective right away. Why so big? What's the story there?
Well, the park's history kind of explains it. It actually started back in the early 70s. It was mainly meant as a breeding facility for the zoo,
Ah, okay.
with a big focus on conserving species, which meant needing these larger, more natural kinds of habitats. And it's still part of the San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance, which is a nonprofit.
Right.
Their whole mission is basically working to end extinction around the world.
That's fantastic. Knowing your visit actually helps fund that conservation work.
Absolutely. Every dollar. And because of that history, while you do have some traditional exhibits you walk through, like at a normal zoo,
Mhm.
a huge chunk of the park is these massive field enclosures where animals roam in environments that are, much closer to their native ones.
That really highlights how different the experience must feel. Okay, so you're planning to visit this huge conservation-focused park. What's the number one thing all the sources agreed on for making the most of your visit?
Unanimously, across everything we looked at, you have to plan for a whole day, an entire day.
A full day.
Seriously, trying to cram it into half a day, you're just going to miss so much. You'll feel incredibly rushed. Don't even think about it.
Okay, loud and clear. Don't even try a half-day trip. That's a strong consensus. Why are they so insistent on that? What key things do you miss if you rush?
Well, it just comes down to the sheer size and all the different things to see. You've got 1,800 acres to navigate, remember?
Right.
There's the main Africa tram ride everyone does, plus all these different walking areas, the shows, keeper talks. Maybe you want to do one of the paid safaris. You just physically can't cover the main zones. Give yourself time to actually enjoy them, walk between places, maybe wait for animals to appear. You can't do all that in just a few hours. You'd barely scratch the surface.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
Okay, full day commitment. Got it. What about the best timing for that full day? When should you actually go?
Timing is super important here. And getting there early, that was stressed again and again as being really key.
Early, like right when it opens.
Pretty much. It usually opens at 9 a.m., but definitely double check their calendar for the specific day. And arriving early pays off in a few ways. First, the animals. Often much more active in the cooler morning hours, feeding times maybe.
Okay.
Second, you get more shade before the sun gets really high. And third, you beat the biggest waves of crowds that tend to show up mid-morning and into the afternoon.
Beat the heat, beat the crowds, see active animals. Makes sense. Get there at opening. Any particular days of the week or times that are better than others?
Well, weekdays are generally less crowded than weekends. No surprise there. And here's a kind of insider tip. This came up in the Reddit discussion. If you can manage it, showing up after 2 p.m. on a weekday during the school year might mean way fewer school groups.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, they apparently tend to clear out around then.
That's the kind of detail you don't get on the official website? Was that backed up anywhere else or more of a, community wisdom thing?
It seemed more like that, yeah, a shared observation, but it fits with the general idea that weekday afternoons outside of school holidays can be a bit calmer.
Okay.
Also, think about the time of year. Cooler months usually mean fewer people. Spring. You might see baby animals, which is always a bonus. Summer gets hot, so if you go then, that early start is absolutely crucial.
Right. Non-negotiable in summer. Okay, so full day, arrive early, maybe target a weekday afternoon after 2 if possible. How do you actually get to this giant park, and what's the parking deal?
Okay, so the park's inland. It's in Escondido. It's going to be roughly a 40, maybe 50-minute drive from the main San Diego Zoo downtown. Depends on traffic, of course, especially on the I-15 freeway. The signs off the freeway are pretty good, though. Easy to follow.
You definitely need to factor in that drive time then, if you're staying near the coast or downtown.
For sure. And here's a key difference from the main zoo. Parking is not free here. You have to pay.
Ah, okay. How much are we talking?
The sources mentioned around $20 for a standard car and maybe $38 for RVs, or if you want one of the preferred spots closer to the entrance. So, yeah, add that to your budget. It's different from the main zoo where parking's free.
Got it. Plan for the drive, plan for the parking fee. Okay, you're there. How on earth do you navigate 1,800 acres? And what are the absolute must-bring items?
Navigation's key, yeah, because it is so big. Definitely grab a physical map when you walk in.
Old school.
Sometimes it's just the most reliable. There's also a park app, which is great. It has a GPS map, schedules, a planner. Super useful for real-time info, but big caveat, it can be a real battery hog on your phone.
Right, physical map and app, but definitely bring a portable charger. Good tip.
Mm-hmm.
And 1,800 acres, that sounds like.
Mm.
Walking. Lots of walking.
Oh, it absolutely does, yeah. Be prepared for a lot of walking. One source, I found this funny, even recommended the specific brand of shoes they wore walking all over Europe.
Huh. Okay. Message received.
Yeah, and while the park maybe isn't quite as hilly overall as the main zoo, there are still hills in certain parts you can't avoid. So comfortable walking shoes are, I'm not kidding, probably the single most critical thing to bring. Your feet will thank you later. Big time.
Comfortable shoes, non-negotiable.
Yeah.
Underlined, bolded, highlighted. Got it. Is there any help getting around if your feet just give out anyway?
Yes, thankfully. They have these complimentary tram carts. They run routes and pick up, drop off people at designated stops around the park, so that can help you cover some of the longer distances.
Okay, good.
And near the entrance, you can also rent strollers, wheelchairs, and electric scooters, which is great if you need mobility help or, you're visiting from out of town and didn't bring your own stroller.
That covers accessibility well.
Yeah.
Okay, what else needs to go in the bag besides those crucial comfy shoes?
Sun protection. Absolutely essential. Sunscreen, definitely. And plan to reapply it during the day because there are big areas, especially near the big field exhibits, with very little shade.
Right.
A hat and sunglasses, too, just makes it way more comfortable, protects your eyes.
Sunscreen, hat, sunglasses, check.
Yeah.
Hydration. Big park, lots of walking.
Yes. Bring a reusable water bottle. Huge tip, this one. Saves money, keeps you hydrated. Sources confirmed you can get free refills at water fountains all over and even inside the restaurants. Super important, especially when it's warm.
Free water refills. That's a fantastic perk. Budget-friendly and keeps you going. Anything else for comfort or just, random needs?
Layers are usually a good idea. Even on a hot day, mornings can be cool or shaded spots can feel chilly. So like a light jacket or a long sleeve shirt you can take off later.
Makes sense.
And like we said with the app, definitely bring a portable battery charger and your cords. Taking photos, using the map, it drains the battery fast. Maybe even an extra SD card for your camera if you take lots of pictures.
Good call.
Oh, and for families, if you're there in spring or summer, maybe swimsuits or a change of clothes for the kids.
Yeah.
They have splash pads. And quarters. Someone mentioned quarters can be handy for little things like buying duck food or maybe renting a locker.
Quarters, okay. Random, but potentially useful.
That's a pretty solid packing list. Shoes, sun stuff, water, power, layers, maybe swimwear, quarters. Got it. Okay, let's talk about the main event. What really makes the safari park stand out? The safaris.
Yes, the signature stuff. The park's famous for these different ways to get closer to the animals in those huge habitats, often closer than you can just by walking around.
So tell us about the main one, the one that comes with your regular ticket.
Okay, that's the Africa Tram. It's included, totally free with admission. It's really popular. It's about a 25-minute narrated ride, goes round trip.
Okay.
It basically circles the big African plains areas, so you get these great wide views of animals like rhinos, giraffes, various antelope, zebras, all in a much more open setting. Kind of feels like you're driving through a savanna. Sounds great. Is there a catch? Why wouldn't everyone just do that multiple times?
Well, the main thing is the potential wait time. The lines can get really long for the tram, especially in the middle of the day, say between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m.
Ah, okay. Peak hours.
Exactly. So, pro tip, if the tram is high on your list, try to ride it either first thing in the morning when you arrive or maybe later in the afternoon. Should be a shorter wait then.
Ride early or late for the tram. Got it. Now, what about all those other safaris you can pay extra for? There seems to be a whole bunch of them.
There really is a whole menu of paid experiences. They range from like getting right out into the habitats with the animals to going behind the scenes with the keepers.
Okay.
And for these, booking online in advance is definitely the way to go. They can sell out, especially popular ones or on busy days. And sometimes you might find slightly cheaper prices online versus buying day of.
Okay, so plan ahead and book the paid ones online if you want to do them. What are the main kinds of experiences they offer? Can you break them down a bit?
Yeah, you can kind of group them. First, you have the truck safaris. The wildlife safari is probably the most popular one. You actually ride in a covered open-air truck into the savanna areas with a guide.
Wow, in the habitat.
Yeah, really close views of giraffes, rhinos, etc. Now, one source noted that they don't do the animal feeding or touching on these anymore, which used to be a thing,
Mhm.
but it's still an amazing way to get super close. And they have different versions, like one at dusk called Moonlight Safari with night vision, a longer one for photographers, even on adults, only one with wine.
Riding in a truck through the savannah sounds incredible, even without the feeding. What about seeing how things work behind the scenes?
Right, for that, you've got the behind-the-scenes safaris. These tours take you into areas usually only for keepers. You get an insider look at specific animals, maybe elephants or tigers or rhinos, learn about their care, the conservation stuff. Examples are like Discover Africa or Walkabout Australia, but from a different perspective, Saving Giants, focusing on rhinos and elephants. There's even a deluxe one that visits some really interesting facilities.
Interesting facilities. Like
Yeah.
what you mentioned something, the frozen zoo earlier.
Yeah, that came up in the description for the Deluxe Mission Wildlife Rescue Safari, the Frozen Zoo. It's fascinating. It's basically where the Wildlife Alliance cryogenically preserves genetic material, skin samples, reproductive cells, that kind of thing, from endangered and rare species.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like a genetic library for the future, a huge part of their long-term conservation plan. Really cutting-edge stuff.
The frozen zoo. That's mind-blowing. Okay, what about options that are maybe a bit easier for families with really young kids or folks who want something guided but maybe less adventurous?
Definitely. For that, the cart safaris are perfect. These are guided tours, but you're in a comfortable electric cart. It's more personalized. They stop for photos. You still get great close-up views of different areas like Africa or Asia, or both on a deluxe version. The sources specifically mentioned these are great for all ages, even like babies and toddlers.
Cart safaris sound like a good, gentle option. Anything really unique or maybe with a bit of a thrill factor?
Okay, for unique access, there's the Sun Up Cheetah Safari. This gets you in before the park opens. You see the cheetah run demonstration where they show off the cheetah speed, and then you get a behind-the-scenes truck ride along the Africa tram route.
Early access and cheetahs, cool. What about the thrill?
That would be the Flightline Safari. This is a big zipline experience. It's like 2/3 of a mile long, goes up to 130 feet high, and you literally fly over the savanna habitats.
Whoa. Ziplining over the animals.
Yeah. The sources raved about the views, seeing giraffes, rhinos, everything from way up high. Totally unique perspective. Just got to check the age, height, weight limits, wear closed-toe shoes, sign a waiver, all that. They have a little practice run, too.
That sounds insane, in a good way.
Yeah.
What about actually staying there? Can you do that?
You can. That's the Roar and Snore Safari. These are overnight camping adventures inside the park.
Camping, really?
Yep. Includes things like after-hours tours, seeing animals when the park is closed, food, a campfire. And yes, the sources confirm you might actually get woken up by the lions roaring nearby.
That's one heck of an alarm clock.
Right. They have different themes, some for families, some adults only. Some upgraded ones even include the flight line or use night vision goggles for viewing.
Camping with lions roaring.
Hmm.
Wild. Okay, and for the absolute, money is no object, VIP treatment.
That's the ultimate safari. This is the top tier. It's a completely custom tour, like 5 or 7 hours long, with your own private guide. You get exclusive access to certain areas. Lunch is included. It's tailored to what you want to see.
Sounds amazing, but probably pricey.
Oh, yeah. Very expensive. And you definitely need to book that one way in advance. It's for people who want that really deep, personalized, exclusive experience.
Okay, so safaris are clearly a massive part of the experience, from the free tram all the way up to overnight camping and VIP tours. But what about just walking around? What are the must-see animal exhibits or experiences you can just walk up to?
Absolutely, yeah. Beyond the safaris, there are fantastic walkthrough areas where you can see animals up close on foot and learn all about them. Lots to explore that way, too.
What were some of the standouts that kept getting mentioned in the sources?
Okay, Walkabout Australia was a huge one, consistently highlighted. It's designed so you walk along a path, and there are basically no barriers between you and the wallabies and kangaroos roaming around.
Wait, no barriers, like they're just there.
Pretty much. They might hop right across the path. It feels really immersive. The tip there was to try and go near opening time. The kangaroos are often more active then and closer to the path.
Wow, kangaroos hopping around you. That's definitely special. What else was called out as a unique must-see?
This next one genuinely surprised me. It came up multiple times. The platypuses.
Platypuses. Really?
Yes. Get this. The San Diego Zoo Safari Park is the only place outside of Australia where you can see platypuses.
No way. That's incredible.
Isn't it? Their exhibit is apparently state-of-the-art. It's kept quite dark because they're nocturnal naturally.
Uh-huh.
But the special lighting they use actually encourages them to be active during the day for visitors. Sources said it can get crowded, but the staff manage the line well, and they are absolutely worth seeing. Totally fascinating creatures.
Definitely adding that to the list.
Yeah, and often there are docents, volunteers, right there explaining how unique they are, egg-laying mammals, and why they're important conservation ambassadors. Oh, and they even have a live platypus cam online you can check out. It's located inside that Walkabout Australia section.
Platypuses in California. That's amazing. Any seasonal things that are worth timing a visit for?
Yes, if you happen to be there in the spring, usually around March through May, check out the Butterfly Jungle.
Oh.
It's a temporary exhibit, basically a big walk-through aviary filled with thousands of butterflies. It's beautiful, and they might even land right on you. Very popular.
Sounds lovely.
Yeah.
What about closer interactions or meeting characters, that kind of thing?
Well, there used to be a petting crawl with goats in Nairobi Village, but one source mentioned it was temporarily closed. Funny side note, if it reopens, people warned that the goats were notorious for trying to eat maps and brochures.
Warning.
But still, in Nairobi Village, at Nairobi Station, keepers often bring out smaller animals for encounters at scheduled times. That's a great chance to see something up close and ask questions.
Okay.
And for something totally different, sources mention Robert the zebra, also in Nairobi Village. Apparently it's like an interactive animated zebra on a screen, but he's powered by a real person who chats with you, tells jokes, answers questions. People seem to really enjoy how witty it was.
A virtual zebra comedian. That's
Yeah.
unexpected.
Right. And then there's the Lagoon Loop, a spot where kids can feed ducks. You need quarters for the duck food, though.
Okay, Robert the zebra and duck feeding.
Yeah.
Got it. Beyond those unique sits, what about the classic big animal exhibits, the ones you definitely shouldn't miss?
Yeah, the greatest hits, so to speak. The gorillas were mentioned a lot. People love watching them in their habitat. They even have caves they use to cool off when it's hot. There's an activity center nearby to learn more about them, too.
Gorillas are always impressive.
Totally. And the elephants, another huge draw, literally. The park has this amazing 6-acre habitat for them. Keep an eye out for the baby, Zuli, apparently. You can watch them playing, maybe in the mud pit, from the elephant viewing patio.
A baby elephant. Cute.
Yeah, and someone mentioned that sometimes staff announce feeding times, and watching the whole herd make a run for their food is apparently quite a sight.
Oh, I bet. Like a dinner bell stampede. What about big cats?
Definitely the Sumatran tigers. They're endangered, so seeing them is special. Like a lot of cats, they're usually most active early morning or later in the day, kind of dusk hours.
Makes sense.
One tip was that there's a viewing area downstairs at their exhibit where sometimes you can get a surprisingly close view if one is resting near the glass. And there's a playground and a cafe right near the tigers, so it's a good spot to hang out for a bit.
Good tips for seeing the tigers. Okay, so lots to see and do just walking around besides the safaris. Any other general activities worth knowing about?
Yeah, definitely check the schedule when you arrive, either on the app or the physical map for animal presentations. These are scheduled shows where keepers bring out different animals, talk about them, answer questions. Great learning opportunity.
Okay.
Near the entrance, there's the conservation carousel. It's got like 60 different endangered species you can ride. It costs extra, but I think you can get unlimited rides for the day.
Fun for kids.
Yeah. And scattered around the park are themed play areas, good for kids to burn off steam, including those splash pads we mentioned in the warmer months. Oh, and if you miss an animal or just want to see more later, remember the park has really good animal cams on their website. You can watch condors, elephants, tigers, giraffes, live from home.
The animal cams are a nice touch. Okay, all this walking, exploring, seeing amazing animals. Eventually, you're going to get hungry. What's the food situation like?
Pretty good, actually. There are quite a few options, ranging from more casual sit-down restaurants to quick little kiosks for snacks and drinks.
What kind of variety are we talking? Burgers and fries everywhere.
No, there's a decent range. A lot of places offer covered seating, which is nice. Many serve beer, wine, cocktails too, and several specifically mention having options for gluten-free, vegetarian, and kids' meals. So they seem to cater to different needs.
Okay, that's good to hear. Any specific spots that got called out as being particularly good or having a great view?
Yes. One place came up repeatedly, mostly for the experience, the watering hole at Kijami Overlook.
Watering hole, okay.
People raved about the views from there. You're literally overlooking the African plains. You can watch rhinos, giraffes, other animals roaming while you eat. They serve stuff like sandwiches, salads, and have a full bar. Sounds amazing, right?
Eating lunch while watching giraffes walk by.
Yeah,
That sounds pretty incredible.
definitely. Because it's so popular for the view, reservations are highly recommended for that spot.
Good tip. Reservations for the watering hole. What other kinds of food can you generally find around the park?
Let's see. There's the sheared sheep with an Australian theme, naturally. Barking deer, BBQ and beer does smoked meats. Pizza. Thorntree Terrace apparently has some Asian-inspired lunch dishes, but also, interestingly, breakfast items early on.
Breakfast. Good to know.
Yeah. Then you've got Mombasa Cooker with water views doing more standard park fare like burgers and chicken tenders. And Moazo Kitchen for Mexican food. Plus, lots of smaller spots for coffee, donuts, ice cream, churros, pretzels, snacks. The usual suspects.
Okay, plenty of choices if you want to buy food there.
Yeah.
But you mentioned earlier bringing your own food is allowed, right? That came up as a tip.
Absolutely. And it was a big tip in the sources, especially for saving money. The park officially allows you to bring your own food and snacks. The only restriction is no large hard-sided coolers. Soft bags are fine. And they have picnic tables scattered around, so it's easy enough to find a spot to sit and eat your packed lunch. Definitely a key strategy if you're on a budget.
That's a huge money saver.
Yeah.
Crucial tip. Now, we've kind of danced around it, but that conservation mission is so central to the safari park's whole identity. Can we dig into that a bit more? What are they actually doing?
Yeah, it's really fundamental. It's not just branding, it's why the place exists. Being part of the San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance means they're deeply involved in trying to save species all over the planet.
And the sources gave some really concrete examples of their impact, didn't they?
They really did. One powerful story mentioned was how the park was involved in rescuing a large group of elephants from Swaziland, where they were going to be culled. They relocated them, gave them a safe home at the park. That's direct, hands-on rescue work.
That's incredible. What about actually bringing species back from the brink?
That's where some of their most groundbreaking work happens. They have the Nikita Khan Rhino Rescue Center right there on the grounds.
Right.
It houses rescued rhinos, but more importantly, they run the only program of its kind in the entire world focused on white rhino surrogacy, using southern white rhinos as surrogates to potentially bring back the northern white rhino, which is functionally extinct with only 2 females left.
Wow. The only program like it. That's critical work.
Hugely critical. And historically, the park was also absolutely essential in saving the California condor. That species was down to just 22 birds in the world at one point. Their breeding program was key to its recovery.
Amazing comeback story.
Totally. And they have the Paul Harder Veterinary Medical Center on site, too. It's not just for the park animals. It's apparently the largest vet hospital of its kind anywhere, supporting global conservation research and animal health.
It's genuinely inspiring, hearing about the scale of their commitment, from rescues to this cutting-edge science. Okay, shifting gears to a very practical planning question that definitely came up. Can you or should you try to visit both the main San Diego Zoo and the safari park in the same day?
Ah, the classic question. And based on everything we read, the answer is a very clear, very firm, and no.
Huh? Okay. No ambiguity there.
None at all. It is just absolutely not recommended by anyone who knows the parks, it seems.
Why not? What makes it such a bad idea?
2 big things: distance and size. First, the parks are, like we said, about a 40-50-minute drive apart. Could be longer with traffic, so you're looking at nearly 2 hours just driving back and forth. That eats up a huge chunk of your day right there.
True.
But more importantly, the size factor. As we've hammered home, both parks are massive, especially the safari park at 1,800 acres. But even the 100-acre zoo takes time. They each really deserve a full day to explore properly.
Right.
Trying to squeeze both into one day means you'll be rushing like crazy. You'll have to skip huge sections of both parks, and you'll just end up exhausted and probably feeling like you missed out on a lot. It's a recipe for a bad time.
Okay, don't do it. Recipe for disaster. Is there a better combination if you only have limited time in San Diego and want to see the zoo?
Yes, definitely. A much more realistic and enjoyable plan is to combine the San Diego Zoo with exploring Balboa Park.
Ah, because they're right next door.
Exactly. They're literally adjacent. You can easily spend the morning at the zoo, then walk over and spend the afternoon exploring the museums, the gardens, the architecture, whatever interests you in Balboa Park. Much more manageable, much less stressful.
That makes way more sense.
Yeah.
Good alternative. Okay, what about tickets for the safari park itself? Any final tips on buying those?
General advice is to buy your tickets online ahead of time. Saves you waiting in potentially long lines at the entrance gate when you arrive.
Always good to skip a line.
For sure. And sources mention looking into potential discounts. Sometimes authorized third-party sellers have deals, or if you're doing multiple attractions, a multi-attraction pass like the Go City San Diego Pass might include the safari park and save you money overall.
Worth checking out those options. Any big annual promotions people should know about?
Yes. Two big ones highlighted were Kids Free October. That's a Maver promotion, where kids get in free with a paying adult for the entire month of October. Huge savings for families.
Nice.
And apparently seniors get in free during the month of February. Also, if you live nearby or think you'll visit both parks multiple times, look into getting a San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance membership. Some membership levels include free parking at the safari park, which saves you that $20 plus admission to both parks for the year.
Good info on potential savings there. All right, before we wrap up this deep dive, let's just quickly hit the absolute must-remember top-line tips from everything we've covered.
Okay, number one, without a doubt, wear those comfortable walking shoes. Seriously. Your feet will thank you after tackling 1,800 acres.
Check. Shoes.
Number two, stay hydrated. Bring that reusable water bottle. Use the free refill stations constantly, especially if it's warm.
Water bottle. Check.
And number three, bring that portable battery charger for your phone. Between the app, photos, maybe videos, you'll likely need it.
Charger. Check. Shoes, water, power. Seems like the practical trifecta. Anything else that really stood out from the visitor feedback?
Yeah, one more thing that came through, especially in the Reddit threads and comments. Don't be shy about talking to the park staff and the volunteers you see around.
Oh, yeah.
People consistently said they are incredibly passionate, super knowledgeable, and really helpful. Ask them for directions. Ask about where animals might be hiding. Ask about feeding times or keeper talks. Ask about new babies. They're your best on-the-ground resource. Tap into their expertise.
That's a fantastic final tip. Use the human element there. Wow. Okay, that really was a deep dive into the San Diego Zoo Safari Park. I feel like we covered a ton.
Yeah.
From just grasping the huge scale and the different kinds of habitats to figuring out the logistics, picking the right safari for you, finding those hidden gems like the platypuses, and really understanding that vital conservation work they do. Hopefully you feel way more prepared and excited for a visit now.
And, thinking about that conservation work, like that rhino surrogacy program, the only one in the world, trying to save a species literally on the edge. It really makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
It kind of brings up a bigger question, maybe something for you to ponder. How does learning about these huge global efforts to save wildlife, how does that maybe change how you view the wildlife closer to home, in your own backyard, or even just the small choices you make every day? Just something to think about.
That's a really powerful thought to end on. Excellent point.
Okay.
Well, thanks for diving deep with us today. We really hope this helps you plan and have an absolutely incredible, informed experience at the San Diego Zoo Safari Park.